Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Lene Show. I hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. As always, I appreciate my listeners, so thanks again. Let's jump right into today's topic, okay? We're going to talk about Teen Mom. I'm sure most of you are aware of this show. Even if you don't watch it, you have heard of it. Just in case you're living under a very big rock and you don't watch any entertainment shows, you don't have any social media, and possibly no TV. I'll give you a little backstory on the franchise Teen Mom. It's been on for about 10 years. The show originally started as 16 and Pregnant, and it aired for the first time in December of 2009. When the first show started, I was kind of interested in it just because, one, I feel like a lot of people think they know what happens to young men and women when they become parents at a young age. It's kind of taboo, at least it was in 2019. It's definitely not taboo, but 2009 was still, it's only 10 years, but I feel like so much has happened in 10 years that still in 2009, TV was still trying to do big breakthroughs in reality. TV shows had really been taken off. I think I remember, I don't know if it's the first reality TV, but I remember The Simple Life, I watched that. And then of course, Real World and Road Rules. Those were like my favorites. And there were a few others, back then that I really don't know off the top of my head, but I feel like 16 and Pregnant was definitely a show that had people saying, I wonder, what do these young people go through? What do they families go through if you don't know someone who was a teen mom? And I feel like everybody at least knows someone, or even if you don't know how they handled it or how their life went, you might have an aunt, maybe your grandmother, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe your mom was a teen mom back then. So I feel like it definitely drew people in, and I was drawn in. I was, of course, mainly drawn in because I was a teen mom myself. I got pregnant in 2002, my senior year of high school, and then I had my second daughter in 2005. So I was a mom of two little girls by the age of 21. And of course, when this show came out, I was like, where was this show? Because by the time this show came out, I had been a mom already for 7 years, So naturally, I was like, okay. And I did have one friend that was also a teen mom, but we weren't actively in each other's life. I'm sure a lot of other young moms can relate that I lost pretty much all of my friends when I became pregnant with my daughter my senior year. And thank goodness I did graduate high school. I have a high school diploma and I do have a college degree. I just want to throw that out there because it is part of statistics that a lot of teen moms either don't graduate high school, they end up getting their GED, or if they do graduate high school, a lot don't go off to graduate college. So I'm very happy that I wasn't a part of that statistic, but I was a part of they say a lot of teen moms within the first or 2 years automatically have another baby. Yeah, that was me. 3 years later, became a mom. So I fell into that. But it's okay. I don't care about that. But I lost a lot of my friends. Majority of my friends I lost because of that. I moved. I couldn't go out. I couldn't do anything. And it was hard. It was lonely. I had postpartum. I really didn't do anything. My whole life revolved around my daughter, and no, it gets really, lonely, guys. So this is why I personally wanted to watch this show, because I was like, oh, are there other girls like me? Because up until this point, I didn't have any friends that had kids my age. Like I said, I had one friend that had her son the same year I had my daughter. He's just born before her. But we kept in contact, but not as much where I felt like I had someone else to relate to. I want to say it's probably because I moved and we weren't close enough to really lean on each other. So I was lonely, it was just me and my mom for a little while. And then I moved in with my grandmother, and it was still like my mom had a full-time job. My grandmother had a full-time job. My brother was running around doing his thing. So I was pretty lonely, and none of my cousins, none of them had kids. So yeah, this was my life. This is how it was. And so this definitely interests me to see how other teen moms dealt with the difficulty of being a young mom. The blessing of a child can sometimes get overshadowed by the struggle of not being mentally, financially, and emotionally able to care for your child. Having a great support system and two active parents can make the process a lot easier. And I didn't have that. I was a single mother, and I had a good support system. My mom and my grandmother were a great support system where I was able to live at home. I didn't have to pay any bills. I breastfed my daughter for the first 3 years of her life, so that saved some money. But like I said, I remember how lonely I felt. I remember going through the postpartum. I remember having to go to the Medicaid office and getting Medicaid and food stamps. And I just want to point out, I am always so grateful for the system. If it wasn't for the system, I don't know what I would have done. I would have had to lean on my mom and grandmother so much more, because I was working. I worked my junior and senior year. My first job was at McDonald's, and then I left McDonald's for Wallbounds, which is a supermarket. It's not around anymore, but it was a supermarket, and I worked there the entire time. And, I had saved up some money, especially once I realized I was going to have my daughter. I had saved up money, and I was so happy because I was able to file some taxes, and that money basically went towards like diapers and maybe some food for me. But then, like I said, I did get food stamps and I did get Medicaid. And I just want to say the system is really helpful for those of us who need it. And when this show started in 2009, it was actually a new beginning for me. It was the year that I got my very first apartment, just me and my two kids, which I'm sure anyone who gets their first apartment or first house, especially if you were a young mom and you were living with your family, I was super duper excited, and I had just moved in, I think, June of 2009. So I was like, wow, like maybe I will see other people who just, and I don't want to say I struggled. I think for me, the struggle was more mental and physical, and having to tend to a baby that was constantly crying, sometimes just crying for the heck of crying, not knowing what their needs, not having anybody to talk to. My mom would get up, go to work in the morning, and it was just me and her. That was it. No one else. And like I said, that can get lonely. But as far as financially, no, I didn't have to struggle because I didn't have to pay for anything. And the food stamps helped with making sure that I ate, and actually made sure my mom ate, because I just put food in the house, and I had health insurance for us, and we had clothes because an infant doesn't really need a lot of clothes. And she was born in December, so she didn't really go outside. So I'm just saying the mental and the physical stress that being a parent already, no matter at what age, parenting is difficult. It's great. It has its ups and its downs. But obviously when you're young, it's just harder. And we all know, we can all agree with that. So like I was saying, so 2009 was a good year for me, and I had left the harbor. They weren't going to be there for their kids. I mean, I definitely felt really bad. Then the show did the spinoff, which is what, I'm talking about today, Teen Mom. Um, that took four girls who I think probably had the most popular episode on 16 and Pregnant, and the most controversial episodes. The four girls were Farrah Abram, who I had a love-hate relationship because she was really disrespectful to her parents, as if they didn't bring her into this world, like she just came here on her own, magic or something. And, I also felt really bad for her because the father of her child passed away before he could meet his beautiful daughter. So you kind of have a love-hate for Farrah. Like, you feel like maybe she's been through a lot and you wanna have empathy for that girl, but she makes it really hard. But I did not like that Teen Mom did not want her on the show anymore because she was an adult entertainer. Once again, this is reality TV, people. If that is how she chooses to make her money, I feel like showing it and highlighting what women do, it would have been the better. But they try to act like this is some home family show, but at the end of the day, they're teen moms. And obviously, as a parent, you don't want your kid to be the teen mom. Let's just keep it real. I don't want my daughter to be a teen mom, and I was one. So to pretend like this is some good old-fashioned sit with your parents show is ridiculous. And then, okay, so the next girl was Macy McKenna, who, like Chelsea, she's on Teen Mom too, but she can be a little judgmental. She was really judgmental about Farrah, and she has a lot of opinions as if, what's that whole thing, like your shit don't stink? Like, she just thought somehow she was a little better, so I was not really a huge fan of hers until I recently found out that she has PCOS, which is something I battle with, and I've been following her PCOS journey, and I really appreciate the awareness she brings to it and just the fight and hearing her stories. So prior to this, I was not a fan of Macy McKenna. Amber Portwood, who, listen, I love that girl's realness. She seems really down to earth, and of course, I think she's a close favorite of some people. I think she keeps it real. She's also gone through a lot mentally. She's battled with some drugs, battled with some depression. She did lose her daughter for a little while. She seems to she seems to have really bad judgment with men. So I could relate to her too, because that was a little bit of me. I didn't battle with drugs, but I did battle with depression. I wasn't that good at picking baby daddies. So, I like Amber. I do. I feel like she's a little bit of a hothead sometimes, and she really doesn't think things through, but she's still young. I mean, these ladies are still in their 20s, and so I think she has time to grow, but I do like her. And then, of course, everyone's favorite, guys, Caitlyn Lowell. I mean, at her age, to be able to give her daughter up for adoption, the strength her and Tyler showed, I have watched that episode at least 20 times. No lie, guys. And every time I cry. I mean, Caitlin and Tyler are definitely a favorite. They are super real. They open you up into their marriage, their relationship, their